Hello, and welcome to Robert's Tech Corner, your source for all things technical. In this video, I will explain how to replace a two-way on and off light switch in the bathroom of a house. In this setup, the switch's housing box will contain just two switches. The switch on the left will control the fan, and the switch on the right will control the light. This will be the same setup as the two switches in the back of your kitchen sink, where one switch will control the light above the sink and the other switch will control the garbage disposal. This will also be the same setup as the two switches in the bedroom, where one switch will control the ceiling light and the other switch will control the ceiling fan. Before we begin, go to your circuit breaker box and turn off power going to the bathroom that you will be working in. First, remove any screws holding the switch's faceplate in place. Then remove any screws holding the switches in place. Now slowly pull out both switches to expose the wires. All of the wires coming from the bottom of the switch's housing box come from the circuit breaker box. All of the wires coming from the top of the switch's housing box will go to the fan housing box and the light housing box. There are just three wires coming from the bottom of the switch's housing box, and I have labeled them: black live hot, white neutral return, green ground. These little devices are called wire nuts, and they are made of plastic. Whenever you connect two wires together, you will twist the two bare ends of the wire together and insert them into a wire nut. In this demonstration, the switch on the left will control the fan, and the switch on the right will control the light. Now unscrew all of the wires going to the defective switch. If this is a builder's grade switch, the wires will not be screwed to the switch, but instead will be pushed into slots directly in the back of the switch near the corresponding screws. For this type of light switch, you will need a small flathead screwdriver to slowly pry out all three wires from the slots. When you go to buy a replacement switch, both of these switches will be exactly the same, and they are called single pole, single throw switches. They may be abbreviated SPST on the box. Just make sure they are rated 120 volts at 15 amps. Hold the switch so you can read the on and off positions. If the top of the switch says off, make sure you turn the switch to the off position. Then rotate the switch so the off position is on the bottom. The bottom black wire will be supplying current to the fan switch and the light switch at the same time. The bottom black wire must be connected to the bottom brass screw on the right side of either switch. Then you will connect a single black wire to the bottom brass screw on the right side of both switches. This is how both switches will receive current at the same time. Now connect the top red wire to the top silver screw on the right side of either switch. Then do the same thing with the top black wire to the opposite switch. The bottom green wire must be connected to the green ground wire nut. There will be just two green wires coming from the green ground wire nut. You must connect one of the green wires to the bottom green screw on the left side of either switch. Then do the same thing with the other green wire to the opposite switch. Now I will explain how both switches function. When the switch on the left is in the on position, a single metal pole inside the switch will be tilted to the far right and allow current to flow from the bottom black wire to the top red wire. Current will then enter the bathroom fan through the red wire, then exit the bathroom fan through the white wire, then go back to the circuit breaker box. The same thing will happen with the opposite switch, except it will turn the bathroom light on. If the bottom black wire supplying current to this switch ever came loose and came in contact with the body of the switch, you will receive a shock. This is why the green screw is screwed directly to the body of the switch. If the body of the switch ever became live with current, the current would travel through the green wire and back to the circuit breaker box. When current returns back to the circuit breaker box through the green wire, this will cause the circuit breaker supplying current to this device to turn off. Depending on the state that you live in and the electrical codes, the housing box may be made of metal. If this is the case, there will be an extra green ground wire coming from the green ground wire nut and going directly to the green screw located somewhere on the housing box. Now push the wires back into the wall, then screw the switches back into place, then screw the switch's faceplate back into place. Now go back to your circuit breaker box and turn on the power going to the light switch that you were working on. If you have any questions about this video or how anything else works, please feel free to contact me.